Wait.
I don't know why I was even worried. You seem like you already got this.
I'm very worried for.
There it is.
Oh, that. We don't want it to freeze frame with that. That was brutal. Okay, hold
So,
on. Can you see us? This is my husband, Josh.
you don't think I know who that is? Baby, you're amazing. Come on. It's my favorite song of all time. How you doing?
We're
Good.
good.
I didn't realize we were matching.
Well, you should see underneath.
I feel underdressed or overdressed.
And you look fantastic.
You look great.
Thank you. So if you guys don't know who that is, obviously, that's Katherine Heigl, famous actress. And I was hoping that your husband would be here, so anything I would say wouldn't offend you or him. But obviously, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful women who's ever lived. Sorry, if that's okay.
I don't know what she's doing with me.
That's so wonderful.
So I obviously, I think when I saw you had followed me, I lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, that's Katherine Heigl. And I didn't know how. So can you just tell everybody how how you saw my content and how I even got the lucky honor of you following me? Can we ask that?
You are too kind. Yeah, you popped up in my For You page, and I just started liking the videos because I love what you're doing. I love the message. I feel like you're one of those people on here who really makes the app meaningful and have some, something to it that isn't just either silly or garbagey, but has a real impact. And so I started following as I started to understand that one can do that here. I feel like I'm 110 years old and I don't understand technology. It's really sad.
Katie.
It's taken me really long time to figure out TikTok. So I didn't really even know you could follow people. I thought they just fed you kind of what you
Well, I'm honored that I'm the one that you figured it out on. I mean,
yes, you were.
Josh, I'll listen to anything you have to say, but it's going to come with a slight grain of salt because you, sir, do not follow me. And I know you know how to follow people.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you don't follow.
Who, me?
You.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Wait, I'll
get
I'll
right
get
on
right
that.
on it. Katie's going to show me what I'm doing wrong.
It's actually kind of tricky, this whole TikTok thing. Like, they don't make it, it's not very intuitive. That's why, and I probably put too many details when I was kind of telling you how it all goes, but they don't make it that simple. So don't feel
grateful for that. And I'm just relieved that it was as simple as it was, just clicking the invite. One would think that was
I had all the faith that you were going to figure it out. So I just want to ask you a couple questions. I know I don't have a lot of your time, but so one of the first things, so obviously my content is about anti-bullying, anti-scamming, trying to lift up people in marginalized communities, just trying to stand up for them. So the first question I just kind of want to ask you is, in your life or career, how has bullying, either in person or online, affected you and your career and whatever you're willing to share, if you can?
I think, I don't know that anybody makes it out of this life without, some form of bullying in one way or another. And I think all of us are familiar with sort of those school days, like middle school, high school.
Brutal.
Yeah, like he was super bullied in middle school. I got very bullied in middle school. And you think like, it can sort of traumatize you in whether like how you trust people or, it can really hinder how you make friends because you kind of feel like, oh, no one is to be trusted. But that's very typical. I think we all have experienced that in one way or another. But there's a difference in my mind between that kind of never going to change, always going to happen. Our kids go through it too, kind of schoolyard bullying, and the kind that is dangerous and traumatizing and leading to teen suicide and stuff. That's a different level that I think, we didn't experience as kids because we didn't have this.
We didn't have the internet yet.
We didn't have the internet. And I think the widespread being able to publish a story about somebody in your class across the entire world versus just within your little circle. Yeah. I mean, I think it can just absolutely demolish a kid. Like
when the hate left the peer group circle is when I think kids are now in a place where they could be ruined forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that one thing I talk about a lot is, and we're all around the same age, is that you had almost like a home base when people were bullying you. Like, especially if you got out of school, right. You could run home, get to your house, and your mom or your dad, they would protect you. Fortunately for these kids, there is no home base because their phone is how they connect to their school, their laptops, how they do their homework. So, And there's a reason why there's a correlation between when social media came to mobile devices and the unaliving rate, we can't say the S word, but the unaliving rate of children have just almost correlated exactly to the rise of social media and mobile devices. And that's kind of what we're talking about. So like to that point, I know you have 3 kids, and I think one of them's, I believe, right around the age for social media. So given all the things that you've been through, how do you both navigate social media with your children, and like how do you kind of teach them the empathic way to deal with people, and also how to reject some of the negativity on social media?
I think it's really, really hard. I think we're constantly learning.
Oh
We're
my
constantly trying. I don't know that there's any simple answer. And I think some people think the simple answer is, well, just don't let them have a phone or don't let them be on the internet. But just like you're saying, there's no way around it now with the school systems and stuff. It's how they do their homework. It's how their teachers communicate with them. Unless I'm going to homeschool them and like kind of homestead it, and they're going to end up like unsocialized. We have to learn to live with this and deal with it.
I can say this, that what does kind of work now for us is that the only laptop that they have is the laptop the school provides, and it is very heavily regulated. And then Katie is really, really good with their setting their time limits and what they can do on their phone.
Age limits, all of that. It's been, I
We
think even the companies are learning as they go. And now Apple has all of those privacy and safety settings that you can, really kind of lock that phone down. But more than even all of that is just the constant conversation,
Yeah.
and making sure they know the difference between, so-and-so said I was smelly today, and going, well, that was a crappy thing to say, and maybe just ignore them. Or, so-and-so commented on the color of my skin and said they don't like Black people.
Right.
We have a problem.
Right.
So, and having that constant conversation and making sure they know you come to us, you talk to us, you never try to manage that by yourself or alone in your own head and your own heart. You have to know that we have your back and we are going to protect you. And that kind of bullying has to be shared with somebody you love and trust, because it's when you feel alone in it. And yeah, for sure, I think even in my career with, the public scrutiny and the public conversation, but I chose that, so I certainly got upset when it kind of turned negative, and it definitely hurt my feelings. But there's also, I'm an adult and I chose it. So I can't really cry too long into my beer about it, right? But my kids, again, I don't have them. You can't know, but not anybody can just follow them, so you have that privacy
we make
thing.
sure that they're private.
But still, like,
Yeah.
they're reading comments under their posts and stuff.
Tell
Like,
them about what happened with Roblox. Remember that? Where there was somehow somebody messaged one of my kids through Roblox and was pretending to be a kid their age.
oh,
Yeah. So can I just speak on that real quick? So it's a good point. So one of the other things I'm trying to do is it's like obviously there's a lot of, it's very nuanced, this whole topic, but let's speak with Roblox, and this happens a lot. So one of the reasons, like you saw me when I was wearing a mask, right? I was doing the whole scary hacker thing. Well, for that reason, there's a very specific reason. So people think that hackers can get your IP address, they can like log into just TikTok and get your address, they can scare you, or they can do a lot of things to make you think that they can, like, for example, take your Roblox. So what people are doing, and I'm glad you guys caught that, is they're sending these hackers or these groomers, they're sending out these messages to these kids saying, hey, send me your Roblox, or send me your pictures of yourself, compromising pictures of yourself, or tell me where you live, or I'm going to take your Roblox, or I'm going to hack your Roblox, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a big problem, not just with the bullying, but this mystique of like, these people can get you. They're all like, they can just grab your IP address and they know where you live. So in a situation where your kids saw that the next phase of those conversations would be like, well, you do this or you do that, and if you don't, I'm a hacker. I'll get you, and I'll destroy you, and I'll whatever. Oh, so scary. There has to be more education around that. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your story about the Roblox.
No, that's true. And I think that people like you providing that education has been huge for parents like us.
Yeah.
I have no idea, I don't know how all this works. I was just joking earlier, like I can barely understand TikTok. So, I just, it's so we're so grateful to you for the information that you provide and the education you're providing us parents and just the awareness. There's a lot that we didn't even know was happening out there. We're very isolated up in the mountains of Utah, and it just all social media feeds you what you tend to like and lean into. So you don't necessarily know everything that's going on in the world around you, but your kids, they seem to.
It's a scary world. Josh, can I ask what you did with that whole Roblox situation? I'm sorry.
So I basically found out that there was a relationship happening, and it wasn't real, and that same picture thing you were talking about was about to happen, and thank God I got it in time. And we had a talk about it. I set my kid down, and we had a long chat about it, and then right after that is when Katie and I got on it about setting all of these parameters on the phone, all of this privacy and security parameters and downtime. And basically now, they only have a certain amount of time during the day that they can do anything. And a lot of it's
and then
restricted.
also
She did that.
Well, and we also, like, you hear,
She's like a worrier in the two of you. She seems like she's the one that worries the most. And that's me and my
really incredible group of girlfriends who are like so on it and really understood all of this stuff. And their kids are a little older than ours, so like kind of had those devices in hand sooner and have kind of gone through the ropes a little bit. So they were instrumental in teaching me how to prepare and how to, and that's the thing nowadays. Your kid's going to reach that age. I mean, in my opinion, they should not have a phone in hand until about, I think we started at like 10 was the right. I was going to wait till 16.
Yeah.
I really thought I was going to be able to swing that, but it's almost impossible. So I caved, but then it's like, okay, but before I hand you this phone that is now yours that I pay for, I'm going to set all of the security settings and everything before you even open it. And nobody can have a passcode that I don't know. I check phones regularly because you have to, and it feels invasive, but they are our children, and they are children, and they can't possibly understand. That would never occur to them that was some 40-year-old man somewhere.
But now they know.
That somebody would be capable of that. It would never occur to our children. We don't want it to occur to them. But, we have to be so on it. And it's just one more thing you got to micromanage with your kids.
Yeah, I see a little bit of like you're torn about it. But I'll tell you, and I just did a podcast the other day, and they asked me the question about like, are we overreacting when it comes to social media? By the way, what you just described is about a mile and a half above what most parents tell me they're doing to protect their kids when it comes to social media. So kudos to you. But I always ask people with all three of your kids, and I'll ask the both of you, would you take your three kids, put them in the mall, unsecured, and just let them walk around the mall? Like right now at the age of 14 or without anybody knowing they're there, just let them go and come back an hour. Would you allow them to do that?
No.
Well, okay. But when parents ask me the question, should I hand a phone to my child, not secure it, not do anything, your kid is about 1 billion times more likely to be groomed, harassed, hurt, or sold drugs on a phone than they are in a mall where there's cameras, security, and generally decent people, right? So the fact that you understand that means that you're already ahead of the game, because I can't tell you how many emails or messages I get from parents is like, can you please track this person down? This person's trying to groom my child. My kid was online. There's pictures of my kid online that I can't remove. And the reality is that without that proper planning, the internet's a dark place. You gotta be aware. And I would say that your kid's turning 16. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But you're gonna give your kid a lot more training on a car,
right?
Than you give them on their phone. Like if you don't I don't know what today's version of give a hoot, don't pollute is, but I'm trying to do is build the education so kids are like, hey, give a hoot, there's predators on the phone. I don't know what that is. What is that?
That's funny.
I need a jingle, Catherine. I need a jingle.
Oh,
Actually, Josh, I need a jingle.
Genius with wordplay. He's got you. Yeah, I
Once
think that's a great
follow
idea.
me, Josh, that when you can give me the jingle, I can't pay for it because I'm not.
I want to send it to you royalty free. I have a quick question. What does it really mean when you say grooming? Like, what does that entail?
So I'll tell you. So you guys brought up a point. Like, so if you watch the whole not trials, but the hearings that they had about social media, Mark Zuckerberg said something. I'm not going to poop on Mark Zuckerberg, but I kind of am. He said, I don't think that there's a correlation between what's happening on social media and our children. And he also said that there's no sexually explicit content on our platform. If you've been on Instagram, and I was today, I think I saw 3 boobies, a suicide, and a cop unaliving somebody, right? It's terrible on that app. So you have that problem. But as far as grooming goes, there is absolutely no way for these social media companies to genuinely know as it stands now if somebody's claiming to be 13, 12, or 11, and whether or not they're actually 40 or they're an adult.
Right.
And even if you're a good parent, like I can see you guys are, there are ways, very easy ways for these people that are pretending to be children to trick your children into thinking that they're people their age. They can, like, again, there's Roblox, there's a bunch of different ways. And they use these platforms like TikTok to kind of build that baseline. They'll friend them, you know what I mean? Or they'll make a comment in their video, or they'll just put their Roblox. For example, if you said, oh, only the people I want can talk to my kid on TikTok because I have their profile private, but in their profile they have like their gamer tag. Well, then they're just going to go to their gamer tag and find them on Twitter or Twitch or whatever, and they're going to start harassing them. And this is a huge issue that people don't talk about. So you have to believe. This is why I say your kids. This is why I say your kids are a lot more safe in that mall than they are on this phone, because there are people actively, and there's a whole group called MAPS, which I can't get into for policy reasons, but when I say people grooming, there are people actively looking to find people who don't have parents that are doing even half the stuff that Catherine's doing or you were doing. Wow. To get them to send them pictures, again, pretend like they're hackers and say, give me your pictures or I'll take your Roblox or I'll steal your Minecraft. It happens at alarming rates. So, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise that awareness to get this.
Yeah. Well, it's it truly is a blessing that you're out there and that you're doing it, because God. Again, as parents, like we're already kind of overwhelmed. So then you add this element on top and you just feel this sort of crushing weight of responsibility, and especially if you're a mom like me who doesn't really understand, like I've never played Roblox, I've never played Minecraft, I don't understand. I kind of get it now because my little 7-year-old watches a million Minecraft tutorials. And so I happen to have picked up a few things about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is. It's not like the video games when I was a kid, where like,
it's kind of, notice how they reverted, like Minecraft, they reverted back to like 8-bit graphics. Like I thought they were supposed to progress, but Minecraft is like these little blocks, and like it doesn't make any sense.
And they build these bizarro houses, and they're like, "Isn't my house cool?" I'm like, "No, exactly."
Don't say anything too bad about Minecraft because they'll come after us. Look, I love Minecraft.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful game. But
Josh loves Minecraft.
I don't know that they can play. Can they play Minecraft with other players? Like they can.
Oh yeah.
Okay. See, this is the sort of stuff I don't understand and even know is happening, because in my brain I'm thinking Super Mario, sit next to my sister with the game in hand. Like that's the only, you couldn't play it with somebody else unless they were in the room with you. So
and that's the dangerous thing. So that's a great question. So when people come and they ask you now, because now we're friends forever, I hope.
Forever.
If someone asks you, should I allow my kid to have, let's just say they say Minecraft, right? The answer to the question is always going to be, at least when they ask me, is, do you know how Minecraft works? Like, do you know how a car works? You have to know how a car works before you give a car, right? Do you know how Instagram works? Do you know that Snapchat, they can actually digitally encrypt their messages so you'll never see them? Like, if you don't know how that app works and all the features are, and we know that there's a prevalent issue with grooming, drugs, and all these things, and obviously know it first. And then if you feel comfortable with it, you're like, okay, I kind of feel like I got understanding of it. Like you've been able to kind of like lock down some of those apps. Then the answer is yes. But if you're like, here, 13-year-old, just take this and hope to God nobody gets you. Right. It's not a good idea.
Or let me know if somebody's coming for you. Yeah, I think that, one of the great features too for the Apple phone is that it allows you, because they're always playing on their phones, it allows you to set limits, like age limits for apps, and nothing, for the 7-year-old, it's like, nothing.
He's not allowed to play that game we were just talking about with other people because of the restrictions I've put on it.
Right. And so that you can do that. I just didn't know quite what it meant for which games it meant, but it'll say like allow multiple players that are not in the contact list. No.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, you guys suddenly are a lot more on top of the most. But I only have 2 questions left, and I know I promised you only 10 minutes. I'm just going to try to run through these real quick.
My fault. I always talk way too much. So.
No, I'm a man of my word, and I want to be able to talk to you guys again. The second question I had was, as far as you guys are both in the entertainment industry. Again, I'm a huge fan of Josh's music. I just wanted to say that I love your music. how do you guys deal with it? Like, I'll tell you, so I'm not a celebrity, but like now, I'll just give you an example. When I go live or I make content, I have to intentionally ignore all the negativity and focus on the positive comments because it's really easy. Like you'll get 1,000 people say, "Hey man, I really love that. Thanks for what you're doing." If there'll be like 2 people that kind of creep in and they'll say, "You're fat, you're ugly, you're whatever,"
Yeah.
right? And then like obviously it's really hard as a human not to do that, but obviously I can't imagine what it's like for both of you because you're international celebrities, right? So how do you kind of like navigate through that, having to like social media having to be a part of your life for your job? How do you kind of navigate that?
Well, for me, I don't think he doesn't like nobody like I don't think you get negative comments in your
Not
feed.
not too many, and if I do, I just like I think you.
I just left one, Josh. I just said, "Hey asshole, you're not following me." Is that?
Yeah, just
I'm
that,
just kidding. I'm just
just
kidding.
that
Delete
only
it.
one. That's the one he deleted. No, but
Sure.
for me, I know obviously I do. And I remember my dad said to me once, like, well, if you're gonna read the good, you've got to read the bad. Like, and I kind of got a little older and just went, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I think my webmaster, who is an extraordinary guy and has been in my life since I did a TV show at 19 called Roswell. Like he has been working
I
with me.
know it with the hot sauce and all that stuff. Yeah,
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 the
yeah. I
hot
remember. Yeah.
sauce. And so Keith
Yeah.
is like, I swear he probably goes through my comment
I
section and gets rid of
I think
anything
he
that's
does
really
too.
hateful. Because typically I go on and go, everyone is just being so great. Everyone's being so positive and supportive. And like, what a great community we've built here together.
No,
Like I'm in my little bubble. So I feel they're not to be read. I typically don't, for a long time, never
she
read
doesn't read
comments
them.
at all
Yeah,
because it would just send me into a spiral of shame. Like
yeah.
it just wasn't good for my mental health, and I didn't have enough self confidence or resiliency, I guess, to just not let it sit. But it
Yeah.
does. I mean, it's like you'll read 1,000 beautiful comments and one that really hits a little too close to home with your insecurities. You
Oh
can
my
never
gosh,
forget it.
I tell people all the time. They're like, I'll see them and they'll be like on the fringe of breaking down. I'm like, there's nothing. And again, I have a large following. I've somehow like and some blessing. I don't know what you believe in, Yahweh, God, spaghetti monster. Somebody decided that I needed to be popular on TikTok, and I tell people I would kick this phone out the window if it took 10 seconds away from peace from me and my child. If it made me a worse father, I would kick my phone out the window. So it's not just to see in the comments because you're gonna see them, but if it takes your peace, there's
Right.
absolutely nothing on here that's worth it. You're not gonna make $1 billion. I still drive a 99 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Okay, private seats,
It's a reliable
plethora.
car, man.
Well, it's a sweet car. I have one more question, and you don't have to answer this. It wasn't on there, but I have to ask because I don't I don't I don't like this person, but I'm not trying to drive it in a negative way. Because the first time saw you on screen was with Under Siege 2. It's the first movie I saw, and this wasn't my question, and you don't have to answer it, and I won't be mad if you don't. As much as you could possibly say, what was it like working with Steven Seagal? I mean, as much as you can say.
Steven was okay. So here's the thing. I was 15. I turned 16 on the movie.
Yeah.
My mother was with me the whole time
Mhm.
to the point where, like sitting right on set with me all day, every day. And he kind of tried to take on my mom at one point because he wanted me. My character was supposed to be okay. I'm gonna try to make this a quick story. I'm sorry, but I love
No,
talking
no,
about
trust me. You can
because
go
you
as long
love
as
like
you want.
rehashing the past, right? You're like, and then in my youth. So
Don't
okay,
divulge too much.
no, there's nothing. I mean, it's too late now. I'm like gonna write a book, but but so my character
I
was
won't let them
supposed to.
bully you, okay? If they come after you, you come to me, okay? Just say whatever you want.
My character was supposed to be his niece, whose father had died in combat or whatever, and she was supposed to be like a 90s grunge deadhead chick. So you're thinking flannels, the long skirts, the backpack with the little deadhead bears. Well, when I showed up to, prep and start wardrobe fittings, it was all like bustiers and studded jeans. Again, I'm 15 years old. And my mom, we would be sitting in these wardrobe fittings and I'd be putting these things on and coming out. My mom would go, no, no, she's not going to wear that. No, she's not going to wear that either. So then we had to go to Steven's big ranch house in California and do a fitting there. And she kept going, no, she's not going to wear that. No, she's not going to wear that. And Steven said, Nancy, and he is 6'7".
He's
big.
He's huge. My
He
mother's
was skinny back then, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big.
He wasn't like anyway. And my
He
mom
wasn't
was
skinny like me. is what
my
you're saying.
mom was 5'3", is 5'3". She says she's 5'5". She's not.
Nope.
So he goes, Nancy, can I speak to you? And he takes her into his like office bedroom or whatever. And my mom's a real animal person, and he has all these animal skins all over the floor with the heads still on stuff. And she's like horrified and trying not to walk directly on them and stepping around them. And he goes, Nancy. And she like looks up at him. He's up here. And he goes, this is my movie. Nobody's going to F with my movie. And she's looking up at him and she goes, you're absolutely right, Steven. It is your movie. No one should F with your movie. But that's my daughter, and no one's going to F with her. And then they gave her a badge.
She's fierce, man.
For the rest of filming that just said, Nancy, don't F with me, Heigl. And he was very respectful. The whole...
What was he? Oh.
Very respectful. He was terrified of my mother, who, I mean, seriously, I'm terrified of my mother. And at the last scene we shot, the very last scene on the last day, he said, Katie, I have girlfriends your age. And I said, isn't that illegal? And he said, they don't seem to mind. And I went and found my mother. Yeah, I mean, it's funny to me now, but if that had been my daughter, yeah, I would have. I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny. I only laugh because I was protected, but so many young women in my industry, were not.
Nope.
And I mean, my kids have said things to me. My daughter said today, like, well, maybe I want to be a child actor. And I was like, nope. And it's not because I had a bad experience. It's because I don't have what my mom did for me. That was her entire life.
Right.
She had to basically devote her whole life to protecting me.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the time or I can't do that for my kid, there's no way. No.
Yeah.
It's a sketchy place.
Yeah.
No, and it's sometimes I can imagine in that industry, it's easy just to kind of like, turn a blind eye to trust people. But it sounds like your mom, she wasn't playing no games. I asked the question. I honestly didn't know any of that stuff that you were going through. But I remember that you were watching that. And then right before I asked you to do this, I saw a clip where John Leguizamo said that he walked into a room and he said, this is my movie. And then John Leguizamo like laughed at him. And then Steven Seagal kicked him in the chest and like damn near encaved his chest. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a real human being. And then I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, this dude is a real piece of crap. Like he's not, I mean, no offense. I'm sure he's beating you up. He didn't seem like a nice person. I don't want to bully him.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think, again, like you have to sort of, people show you who they are, right? I think it was the great Shonda Rhimes who said that, who actually got it from Maya Angelou. But you have to it's really hard to believe that somebody has that in them. You want
try to give them the benefit of the
you
doubt.
want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to our kids and it comes to the vulnerable and it comes to the innocent, I'd give no one the benefit of the doubt anymore. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong or if I've made a mistake or I've misjudged, but better that than having been too trusting only to find out my kid has been groomed or harassed or bullied in a way that is going to stay with them through their lives,
I mean, if you ever watch these news articles, and I see them all the time where the parents are interviewed after they lose their son or their child or their daughter, it's always the same thing. It's like, he just looked happy. He just looked like he looked like there was nothing wrong in the world. I would never have believed it. And obviously you can't be there and you can't judge a parent when they lose their kid. But the reality of it is that there are signs that people have, and there are things that you can do to keep your kids safe. And I think what the problem is, the chasm is that there's not enough education about this. Like we were just talking about not knowing Minecraft, not knowing Snapchat, not all these things. I've been on TikTok for 3 years. I didn't even know that there was a feature on this app to protect your kids, right? Like there has to be an education, there has to be a desire to push education so that parents don't come back and they see their kid, no longer on this earth. from something that they could have prevented through bullying, or just the education of it, right? Like we remember stop, drop, and roll. Like everyone went through that. Like when you're in your house, hey, what happens when there's a fire? Stop, drop, and roll. But what happens if somebody grooms you? What's the stop, drop, and roll from that? Josh, I need a jingle for that too. Josh, jingles.
Yes.
Josh,
come on, come up with our slogans.
I will. Dude, it's already cooking.
It's already percolating. Yeah, I think that's absolutely 100% accurate. And if parents could be educated, if somebody could help us and give it, who really does have an understanding of all of this, like you're saying, I didn't know that TikTok had that feature either. So now I'm going to start looking through that. But I'm your person,
Catherine.
I know. I'm just going to start like messaging you constantly.
Totally.
What does this mean? But I just don't let them have TikTok, and I don't let them have. Well, we just started to let them have Instagram. So because I didn't know that you could do that. But I think if there was like a class or an online class or something where you could just log in, pay a small fee, and get an education in how to protect your kids from this and what to say to them, what to look out for. Somebody says something to you along the lines of, send me photos and I'll do this. Please come to your parents immediately. Like what are the signs, what to look for? What are the moments of suspicion that you need to trust your instincts? Come talk to your parents. It would be so huge for all us. Like, it's just a new world. It's a new world.
How crazy is it that we got raised telling, how crazy is that our entire lives in our generation, we were told, do not talk to strangers. Yeah. And then now we hand our kids a phone and go, good luck with the strangers. It's like, I hope it's going to be all right.
Those psycho strangers out there.
Good luck with all
that. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, as
far as information goes, I'm sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Sorry, honey. I feel like I'm not.
Oh, what I was going to say is that on my website, which I'm not selling anything on there to promote, I'm just saying there's a support you section, which has a lot of good information for like reporting it. But you're absolutely right. There's not a lot of information out there that that gets presented to you. I honestly think that with anything, kids and parents should be put through some kind of class before they're given social media. And I have a nonprofit that I'm building called Chasm. I'm trying to figure out how to get that out there. But you're absolutely right. This is why when I see people blaming parents for what's going on, it's not really, there's so much education has to go on, and the parents are fighting against, well, my kid's I can't make him a social pariah, so he has to have social media. Right. And my kids have to do work, so we have to get them on these platforms. Matching up against these applications are complex. TikTok, as we just said, is not a simple application.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of education around it. And I'm super glad that I got to meet you guys. And I promised you that I was going to keep you for 10 minutes, and I feel terrible that I didn't.
No, this has been a really great conversation. I'm just really grateful that you're out there doing this and enlightening us and protecting our kids. So
you
thank you.
need to put the online class together.
Yeah, I'm thinking we need to.
Actually, I didn't want to promote it because I didn't want to seem like I'm promoting anything. But on my Patreon, I actually have signs that your kids are being groomed, signs what to be looking for. And it's if you go to my Patreon on my website, I've actually put together a catalog of a bunch of videos to help people. And the reason why it's on the Patreon, I'm going to move some of it to my website because I want it to be free. But it was just people that were supporting me, I was putting the content out. But you've inspired me to make it freer on my website.
No, I don't know, man. I think people would gladly pay for that information, and I think they should. So
just like we pay for an art class and stuff like that. No,
we should pay for your expertise.
Pay for your expertise. Absolutely. Don't
put it for free. Just keep it on there. Just don't charge $2,000 per.
No, it's $4.99 a month. It's $4.99 or $2,000. It's
awesome. Well, thank you. You are one of the great ones on here, and you have made this app meaningful for a lot of us. Yeah. So thank you.
After I get done with this live, I'm going to go look in the mirror and slap myself and just say, I just spoke with Katherine Heigl and one of my favorite things of all time, Josh Kelley. So I want to say thank you guys. Thank you. I know it went longer, and hopefully we can do this again. I think this is an interesting conversation, and I think you guys add a lot of perspective. So hopefully we can do this again in the future.
I hope so. I would love to. I just find it really valuable. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Peace. I'm going to let you go.
See you next time.
I'm going to drop you because I know that it's difficult with this thing. So let me do it.
And I don't know what to do.
I'll do it.